This is the Isle of Palms podcast, produced by Island Vibes, the Isle of Palms upscale monthly publication. The Isle of Palms podcast is all about the people, places, and events that make this island a slice of paradise.
Hi, this is Zach Giroux, your host for the Isle of Palms podcast. The Isle of Palms podcast is all about the people, places, and events that make the Isle of Palms a slice of paradise. Okay, folks, on today's episode of the Isle of Palms podcast, we continue with the IOP City Council candidates vying for election on November 7th. We have Mr. Jimmy Ward on the podcast today. Pleasure to have you, Jimmy. Jimmy is running for his fifth non-consecutive term. He's currently been serving since 2012. And he is also the president at James M. Ward CPA PC. So, Jimmy, what is the main reason or reasons you are seeking re-election for IOP City Council?
I just want the island to continue to be a model of fiscal responsibility. The city of Isle of Palms budget's in fantastic shape, is in really good shape, and I hope to use my skills as a CPA for the past 37 years to continue to monitor and help provide helpful solutions to keep the city budget in top-notch shape.
What priorities of yours would you focus on during this new term of office if reelected?
I think island drainage, continue to work on that, and mainland bus service are two areas I'd like to keep working on. The city's been involved in the drainage project since 2017 to help with stormwater and tidal drainage problems across the entire island. We're working on phase 3 right now. We have phase 4 coming up. And if I'm reelected, I'm going to work to make sure all these drainage problems are finished, hopefully. As for bus service, Isle of Palms visitors continue to outnumber our residents, of course. I'm on the board of directors of the Charleston Area Regional Transportation Authority. And we've been offering free bus service from Town Center in Mount Pleasant the past 2 years. I think it's 3 years now. And this past year, 2003, with the year we're currently in, it's only in the summer, Saturdays and Sundays, we increased ridership by 92.5%. So that's encouraging. The more cars that we can get off the road and make it easier for people to enjoy the trip to the beach without causing undue traffic burdens to the residents is really important. So I'm looking forward to continuing to serve on CARTA, hopefully, if I get reelected.
And also, another question, what changes, if any, would you strive to make for the island that hasn't been done or could be done better moving forward?
Well, the city needs to keep a stronger presence at the South Carolina State House in regards to home rule. I introduced a motion a couple of years ago to ask the city council to consider hiring our own lobbyist in Columbia to be close to what's going on. We can't go up there every day from Isle of Palms, but we have a lobbying firm, and they have provided great dividends on our investment, and they keep us in the loop. We want to continue to employ them and expand their role a little bit. I'm concerned about island tax revenue. It's good for tourism. Well, we have plenty of tourists, and I'd like to get it changed in the state house level to where we can use our revenues more for capital projects like in improved sidewalks, beach access, and things of that sort that we aren't currently using.
I like that it's an honest, fair assessment of what's going on the Isle of Palms. Island Vibes.
Great newspaper by a great friend, and so glad he's published this because we really need it. It's impartial, and it's just a great paper.
Island Vibes. It's honest, sincere, and factual.
So excited about the new independent newspaper covering all the positive news on Isle of Palms. Thank you so much for this new publication. Very good. Thanks.
Island Vibes.
Island Vibes is a deal.
You're watching the Isle of Palms podcast.
I created an award 2 years ago called Spirit of the Island Award, which recognizes individuals or groups that have given extraordinary service in some way to the island. I think we have had 5 recipients so far, outstanding individuals that are recognized for their volunteerism. And that's why it's called Spirit of the Island Award. I have a theater company called the Crab Pot Players, and we've been presenting plays on East Cooper for the past 30 years. And it's mainly a volunteer effort. And we do a lot of kids shows and a lot of family-friendly fare. And so I hope to continue with that.
Now on to the last, but probably the toughest question of all that everybody's been talking about, the island short-term rentals. I'm going to read you some exact language from the city, from the referendum that'll appear on the November 7th election. Shall the city of Isle of Palms limit the investment of short-term rental business licenses to a maximum of $1,600? Yes, being in favor of the short-term rental cap, and no, being opposed to the short-term rental cap. Please state your stance and why.
Well, my stance is no. I'm against it. And the main reason I'm against it is that I feel like the referendum, as written, takes away options for people for what they do with their own property. So if, let's say, you got sick and you had to go into an assisted living facility, those things are, I have a couple of clients that work for them, and they're $8,000, $9,000 a month. If you could rent out your home on the island to help offset some of those costs, then that'd be great. But this referendum, the way I see it, it would take away that unless it was under 72 days. When you get sick, you don't know how long you're going to be sick, or you need, a lot of care. And then let's say if you wanted to go on a vacation, worked hard 40 years all your life, and decided to take off for 3 or 4 months and go to Europe, and you would like to be able to rent your house out. The state law is 72 days or less that you can do it. But if you wanted to go for 3 or 4 months, after the 72 days, the way the referendum is written, then that would not be an option. And again, I'm all about options about what people can do with their private property. There's been some silly arguments saying, well, you can't have a hair salon or auto garage on your property. Of course not. That's rather ridiculous to even try to make that comparison. We're just talking about rental of a private residence. I don't have a short-term rental license. I don't foresee getting one. I think it's an additional tax on the residents. It costs $450 every year. You have to get it, whether you use it or not. And there's a lot of people that have short-term rental licenses that do not use them, several hundred. The problem is, to me, the cities' short-term rental licenses have been flat for over 20 years. It's just been flat. And then a couple of years ago, someone said, well, we need a moratorium. We need to get control of these short-term rentals. Of course, everybody panicked. Of course they would. And they all went out and got short-term rental licenses. So the numbers of licenses spiked. That's just simple economics. And they spiked just to protect themselves. And now they're interested in real estate. And now the people that want the cap are saying, look, we got a problem. Well, the problem was self-inflicted.
Jimmy, once again, really appreciate having you on the show today.
Thank you.
Just wanted to say the viewers really appreciate you, and best of luck in the upcoming election.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Island Vibes appreciates you taking the time to listen to or watch the Isle of Palms podcast. Check us out in print and as a podcast. Isle of Vibes is the pride of Isle of Palms today, tomorrow, and always. We love our listeners, and we love IOP.
Thank you for listening or watching the Isle of Palms podcast, produced by Island Vibes, the Isle of Palms upscale monthly publication. Find past and current episodes by visiting isleofpalmspodcast.com.